Hello everyone. So in today's video, we'll try to explore a very different topic, which is the Web 3.0. And I'm saying it's different because it is the future of the internet. Now, since all of us are so dependent on internet today, it is very important to understand what is Web 3.0, like what we can expect from the internet in maybe 5 or 10 years. And it is very important to understand this now because suppose someone would have understood Bitcoin in very depth when it was launched, then just think of how much business he could have made it at that time. If you understand a new upcoming technology very initially, then you will have an edge over a lot of people who might be trying to come into the business or maybe try to do something with it later on. So it's very important to understand this right now. So to understand what is Web 3.0, first we need to understand what is even web or what is internet. So if I just ask a random person what is internet, he'll definitely have this answer like internet is Facebook, it's Google, Twitter, YouTube. And like it's not wrong to say that because that is the most commonplace internet we have right now. Internet is defined by these things, but that's not the true definition of internet. Internet is something very different from this. All of these things are not internet, and I'm sure you'll be shocked by this, but you will definitely understand this by the end of the video. So let's try to first understand what is internet and then go to understanding what is web. So internet, as like even Wikipedia defines it as an interconnection of computers. That's it. So what do you mean by that? It is a connection, it is a network of computers. Like if I am able to connect two different computers over a network, that means that's an internet. So there are protocols which decides how the computers will communicate. Like when I say protocol, is basically the language. So right now I am communicating in English and you are able to understand that because you know that you know the English language. So that's our protocol to connect with each other, to communicate with each other. So like that, computers also need some protocol because there are multiple different computers around us. So to understand each of the computers, they need a common language, which is the protocol to communicate with each other. So that's the whole point of internet. Then you might ask, so if that's internet, then what is Google, Facebook, and all of these? So these are just an interface to the internet. So these are the web technologies. So basically there is already, so internet existed like around 10 or 20 years before web came in. So even before the like web came in, we had a version of the internet in which you could do some basic things like just communicating with different computers. You could have sent email without the web technology, like without Gmail, without Yahoo, without any of these services. You could even send an email with the basic bare bones internet. Now internet, if I just give the bare bones internet for you to use, it will be very difficult. Like you can just see different videos in which you can just send an email without the use of these web services, and it will be a nightmare for you to send even an email. So that was a problem with the basic bare bones internet, and that's why someone and that someone is the founder of the web, that's Tim Berners-Lee. So he came up with this idea and he invented this technology called web. So web is basically an interface to the internet which allows common users, which makes the experience of the common users very easy to interact with the internet. So what is Web 3.0 now? We have covered internet and we have covered web. So before Web 3.0, currently we have Web 2.0, and before Web 2.0 there was Web 1.0. Like even now Web 1.0 exists, but the use case is very limited. So uh, web technology, as we understand, is basically an interface to the internet. So it allows you to use it very easily. So initially when the web technology was invented, there was Web 1.0, which had very basic limited capabilities. So if you see the Wikipedia page, what is it? It is just an web of multiple pages linked to each other. So if you just see, like, if you just go to Wikipedia page, you'll just see some text and some images, and the user, the at the max, what he can do is basically click on some of the hyperlinks and go to another page. So that's what Wikipedia is. And so Wikipedia is basically a part of Web 1.0. When the web pages are very static, there is no dynamic thing in there. So like you can just consume content from there. You can read stuff, you cannot write anything onto the Wikipedia page. That's Web 1.0. But now if you come to Web 2.0, there's Facebook, in which you can write your own post and send it to anyone. So that's the difference. So in Web 1.0, it's mostly the static content. So there is no interaction between the user and the content which is already there on the web page, on the website. And by the way, so if you see all of these terms like websites, web pages, and everything has the term called web in there. So that is basically web browsers, websites, web pages, web technologies, all of this are part of web. So they are not part of the internet. So that's also another difference. So coming back to web 1.0, so that was basically the static web pages, which is just very boring to interact with. There's nothing else. So even if you see the just the Google's list, the Google results. So currently, if you see like all of the different users, if you just search the same term, people can see different search results. This is because like Google has modified its algorithms for particular users. So like if you are searching for something, then Google knows about you also a bit, so it will try to modify its search results based on where you are or who you are. But initially, if you know that it was basically just everyone would get the same search results. So even that was kind of a static thing. So that was web 1.0 maybe. But currently, when we have this interaction, so like when you can go and like a post, or when you can go or comment on a YouTube video, so that's what is called the web 2.0 technology, where the user is able to interact with the web pages. So now we have covered all of the topics, internet, web 1.0 and web 2.0. So now coming to what web 3.0 is. So currently there is a lot of problems with web 2.0, because like as web was envisioned by Tim Berners-Lee, what he wanted to make was a decentralized thing where everyone has control. Like internet should have been free. So even now, if you think internet might be free because you are free to post your content or anything, but Facebook can delete your post, Twitter can delete your post. So these big companies have control over what content can go to their platforms. And you do not have any other choice, because these are the common platforms. So these are the places where you have to go to communicate with other people. Otherwise, you just do not communicate, or whatever you communicate, it should be within the norms which have been defined by these big companies. So what was intended was these control over internet should not be there. Internet should be free for anyone. You should be able to do whatever you want to do with it. So basically, everyone should have their own control. And also, these big companies should not be able to collect your data and sell it to. So right now, Facebook is free, right? But it's not free. You are the product, because they are selling, showing you the advertisements, and they are making money out of that. And how they are showing the advertisement, they are collecting your data and they are selling it to third-party companies. So there's a lot of control which is there with these big companies, and people just do not want that, and they want to have a decentralized server. So decentralized system, which is so everyone can have their own control over the internet. So how it might work? So it will work on maybe on the same grounds as how Bitcoin works. So Bitcoin, if you know, is the decentralized system which is based on blockchain. So what happens is basically everyone has a copy of the ledger, and when you are making a transaction, you have to just broadcast your transaction to all of the different ledgers, and that's how the miners come in. So we can make a separate video on how exactly blockchain works or Bitcoin works, but that's part of a different video. So it will be, so that's a kind of decentralized server where there is no centralized bank which is manipulating or controlling this whole thing. So basically anyone can transfer money from anywhere to anywhere. But so right now, if you see, like, banks have limitations or banks have control. Okay, you cannot transfer money from India to US without a transaction fee, or you cannot transfer money to these countries. But Bitcoin does not have any such regulations, so it's completely like there's no control. So that's how the Bitcoin is, or the decentralized server is. Like, the connection between two people is just peer to peer. Now when peer to peer comes in, so when basically I'm communicating with anyone else in the world without a central server, then there are many concerns of privacy, and there are many concerns of security. Like, how do I know that the person I am communicating to is the right person? So if you see, like, there are many different fake profiles on Facebook, but you can spot which one is fake, and like at least some users can report that profile, and like then the Facebook can delete that. So that kind of control is at least there. So that's good for us, that people just cannot make a fake profile, because they will be reported and then the profile will be deleted. But when we have this peer-to-peer connection where there is no central server, then these things, like implementing security and privacy, it becomes a major issue. So that's what Web 3.0 wants to tackle. Basically, that will be the crux of the Web 3.0 technology. And there's another side to it as well, which is the AI technology. So basically, the internet or the web, it will be able to understand your emotions. So it will act more like a human intelligence, and it will be able to interact with you. So currently, the technology for this does not exist. We do have technology for the blockchain part of the Web 3.0, but for this semantic AI, which we call it, for like this AI part is called a semantic AI. For that, we do not have a very good technology available. So we might just see the blockchain part of Web 3.0 coming before this AI part of Web 3.0. So this is basically an introduction to what Web 3.0 might look like. So it can definitely innovate, and because like it's not available now, like there are different some technologies which do depend on Web 3.0, but like they are not very prevalent, so it will take at least around 5 to 10 years before they are prevalent. But yeah, if someone is wanting to make a business out of it, then you definitely need to understand it now. So that's why we thought that we can make a video of this. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and please subscribe to our channel, and also put in the comment section how you feel about Web 3.0, or if you have any questions about this. Thank you.